It's not easy being a star child, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of media speculation and spotlight that comes on you, that's very wanting to tear you down because you're a star child also. Oh, you're privileged and nepotism, and they try to throw all those words in it. It's very unnecessary to do that to children, because they're just children and they're looking to form their own identity and space in the world. India back then was a very closed India. For my mother to run away at the age of 17 and live with my father back then was unheard of. Ek to premarital sex, bhi to ghar chhod ke she's gone to another man, hi Rabba, that sort of thing. There's so many beliefs as Indian women that have been programmed into us. Dusron ka socho, khud ka mat socho. You're selfish if you do things for yourself and don't do things for others. I don't ascribe to that. It is extraordinarily important to input into yourself first. We're taught what our place is, what our role is, what our duties are, how giving service to society is the most important thing. No, when your well is full, others can drink from it, but make sure your well is full first. I've seen you, I've watched you, I've heard you, and I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. Really, well done.
Thank you. Welcome everybody who's joining in today, because this is the most special episode of 2023 for Discover Your Second Act. It is the 135th episode, so it is any which way a very big deal to just continue to do 135 episodes after episodes. And then we are wrapping up for 2023. And what better to have Pooja Bedi with me today. Pooja, welcome to Second Act, and thank you for coming on the show. It's going to be an amazing 1.5 hours, maybe more. I don't know. Let's just do this.
Is it 1.5 hours? I thought 45 minutes.
It was just to get
cancelling my dinner plans.
Normally it's for 45 minutes. Let's see how it goes, because I know that there's lots to talk to you about. But welcome, and let me introduce
Archana, I'm so happy to talk about anything. I know how hard you've been working. I know the heart and spirit that you possess. I know that the two of us met thanks to Goldman Sachs' 10K entrepreneurship program, which you were a part of at the IIM. So you're my fellow cohort person. I've seen you, I've watched you, I've heard you, and I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. Really, well done.
Thank you. You made the whole thing look so beautiful, and thank you for your kind words. So here is Pooja Bedi. I don't know if you need an introduction. You're a fury. You are somebody who just speaks your heart. You don't mince any words. You don't keep anything to yourself. You're an open book. So Pooja Bedi, welcome. A mother, entrepreneur, actor, a wellness coach, restaurateur, and
I'm just a happy soul in life. Full stop.
And in short, a happy soul. So welcome, Pooja. There is so much to know, but I want to start with, of course, the first question, saying not only about you, but you come from a legacy of a father who has a golden voice to a golden work to a golden soul, with a mother like Pratima Bedi who brings in so much culture and art. And here you are. So how do children with such robust and parents who are so loaded become, or are you also under pressure as children to perform and outperform your parents? How is it?
Well, I think the beauty about having my parents as my parents is the fact that they have always emphasized and focused on an individual being an individual. You are unique. You are your own person. You cannot imitate or clone anybody because you are different. Every fingerprint is different across the world. And therefore, you have your own unique identity, your own unique purpose, your own unique way of handling things. You have your own mind, and you should always keep developing it, right? So, and you can't compete with something if you're different. You can compete with something if you're similar. Right. Of course, being a result of Pratima and Kabir, I've imbibed a lot from them. So I've imbibed a lot of their thoughts, their personality, their outlook towards life, their perspectives. I've learned what to do. I've learned what not to do. Developed a strong sense of personal identity, which is something they really wanted me to have. I think being in the limelight as I was growing up just prepared me for being in the limelight because it was just something so normal. So normal to have paparazzi there. It was so normal to be featured in the papers. It was just so normal to be, to have people walk up to you and ask for autographs and, photographs on Kodak cameras back in those days. Today we have the selfie generation, etc., etc. And I think with it came a lot of confidence and ease of being somebody who is in the public eye, dealing with people on a constant basis. My mother, for example, she was so into philosophy. I mean, whether it's Osho or Krishnamurti or Freud or Jung, Rajneesh at that time. I mean, the house was filled with creative people. It was filled with authors and poets and writers and what would be aspiring actors. And, I grew up in an environment that was so saturated and with creativity and everybody exploring worlds beyond. Because remember, India back then was a very closed India, very close-minded India. And here were people living life on their own terms back then, which is unheard of. I mean, for my mother to run away at the age of like 17 and live with my father back then was unheard of. Ek to premarital sex, bhi to ghar chhod ke, she's gone to another man, hi Rabba, that sort of thing. And of course, her being her streaking on the beach, her making a statement of, defined conventions of society that were preset and thrust upon us. Why should we be, I just posted something really cute on my Instagram today. It said tradition. Okay. And tradition, and the definition of tradition below, like a noun, whatever, says tradition. It said tradition, peer pressure by the dead.
Yes.
So when you talk about ये रीत रिवाज है, हमेशा ऐसा है, ऐसा होना ही चाहिए, who said? I mean, thank God today that, women who are wearing pardas and subjugated and kept in the confines of their kitchen and couldn't enter their kitchen during their menstruation days, that today they can do all of the above, and they can wear jeans or they can wear mini skirts, and they can also wear parda and be as Indian. No one says you have to wear a modern outfit to display modernity. And that is the epitome of what you should be. No, you should be able to be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a working professional, you should be able to do it without pressure or bias, or pressure of any kind being thrust upon you. And you should also be able to be a housewife without being, oh, you're just a housewife. No, it's equally important to have the privilege and the freedom to be a housewife. So those, growing up with mindsets that were just open, thought processes that were questioning more than anything else, standard ways of operating were being decimated. Growing up with a healthy sense of disrespect and irreverence, I would say, at things that were thrust upon us. Even today, we have so many laws that are so outdated, and we always fight for freedom. And instead, we should have to fight for freedom. Is that something humans should want to give each other? Fight for love, fight for equality. Is that something we should want to give each other? How stupid in today's day and age to be fighting for things like this. So it was wonderful. It was wonderful growing up with people who were just so proactive, who were doers, not just people who complained about, hey, it is like this, but said, let's do something, let's change the way things are, because we can. And we will hopefully set a precedence, and we'll set a tonality and be an example for others to follow. And I thought that was wonderful. And I've striven to be that my whole life as well.
Yes, very well reflected also when we met. And one thing that stood out for me with you is, and I wrote about it as well, that despite having such a beautiful, robust background, you are a person who carries her heart on the sleeve. You're so humble. You were every professor's favorite. You did exactly things which everybody did. Like if we were laughing together, you were there. If we were in the bar, you were on the table. You were leading the class. You also took a session. Why did it not get into your head? And how do you become this person with so much humility? I really want to know this.
If you look at my lineage, for example, I think, I'm the 18th direct descendant of Guru Nanak Sahib, right? I think that DNA goes a long way. My grandfather was a healer, my father's father. He has an institute up in Italy, above Venice, in a place called Cittadella, where he's healed thousands and thousands of people of all kinds of chronic ailments. He was an energy healer. My grandmother, who was his wife, they met at Oxford. They came back to India for the freedom struggle together. They were largely communist in nature, so very frugal with the way they are. They believe in equality, humanity. And she basically shaved her head and went under His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, took the Tibetan refugees under her wing, and the spread of Buddhism to the West, in Scotland especially, is largely due to my grandmother. There are 3 books written on her incredible life by English authors, Vicky Mackenzie, Lorma Naveen, and Andrew Whitehead. And then of course you see my mother, who was equally able to sit in a village on a floor with villagers and have the time of her life eating their chapatis and dal and teaching them how to dance in her village, Nityagram, and yet at the same time be able to be on this 7-star dining table with the presidents and, the who's who of society, and be able to traverse all the worlds, all the realities, all the dimensions, because it's the experience that matters. I'm not defined by the car I drive. I'm not defined by the clothes I wear. If I buy a Louis Vuitton bag, it's because I like the bag. I could equally go and buy a 1,000 rupee bag of Linking Road because I equally love that too, and flaunt both with great happiness because I love them. It has nothing to do with with the price. It has to do with the value and the joy that has brought me to possess something that looks a certain way or I feel a certain way in. Right? These are important things. So for me, my friendships also are not dictated by what strata of society they belong to. It's determined by the heart within that person. My best friends are my best friends from childhood, and they're still with me till date. I've collected people over the years. Haven't really lost anybody. I love human beings. I love their stories. I love their chaos. I love their pathos. I love their joys. I love to share. I love to learn. So in class, for example, I'm so excited because here I'm taking so many days. We have 3 months, of this program, the IIM program. And for 3 months, all we were doing was learning, whether it was online, or offline on campus. And we were just learning, learning, and learning. And if I have committed to doing something, I want to give it my 100% because that's what I'm decided to do. Why do something half-heartedly, right? And I've always been taught that you do something, you give it 100%, or you don't do it. You want to be a wife, be the best wife. You want to be a mother, be the best mother. You want to be an ex-wife, you be the best ex-wife. So you want to have a boyfriend, be the best girlfriend. You want to be an ex, you be the best ex. So I have great friendships with all my ex-boyfriends. My fiance is really good with my ex-boyfriends. We entertain them, we go out with them. It's so healthy to have dynamics that are clean and happy and straightforward with a clean presence of mind. And I think it's very important for all of us to have this. Everyone tells you, Pooja, you're so childlike, in certain ways. I keep hearing that a lot. Your energy, your childlike nature, I love it because children are so curious by nature. You see them, they're passionate. Do something, they're all so excited. Open a present, they'll think, I don't know, like open the present and things like that. And you give an adult a present, thank you so much, and we'll keep it on the side. Don't you want to see what's in the present? Now the child will be thinking, what did you get me? What did you get me? Right? So where is that curiosity, that zeal for life, that passion, that flavor, that where is that, and why do you not bring it into the classroom? Why do you not bring it into conversations? Why do you not bring it into your home, in your bedroom? Why do you go to bed and chalo so jate hai, and then go to sleep?
But what do you have?
Kisses and cuddles and do that sort of thing and just be the best you can be. I mean, if you want to hug someone, go hug someone. Because I feel so odd. I really wanted to hug them. I just felt this connection. Go hug someone. Give someone a compliment. People won't hesitate to bitch behind someone's back, but they will be so scared to give someone a compliment to their face. No, I walk up to random people at airports, random people, and I'll walk up to say, "My God, you have such amazing skin," and there's, an old lady who's there who's just dressed so stylishly. I say, "My God, you're so stylish," I'm so happy to give compliments, and then you see the light, you see the happiness on their face, and then it carries forward like a ripple effect, right? And that's essentially me, Happy Soul, my company, Happy Soul, my brand, Happy Soul, and that's what we really aim to do, is make the world a happier place.
You're doing the right thing, but it's rare. Pooja, I want to compliment you here since you're talking about reaching out to people and telling them there and then what it means. So I want to tell you that they don't make people like you. It is very rare to find somebody of this lineage, of the person that you are because of everything around you, and yet to reach out to just anybody with that purity, that innocence, and really from the heart. And so Please, I think there's lots to learn.
We all have a child within us, Archana. We all have that child. We suppress it.
Yeah.
And it is incredible how people just wait for that moment where they can actually be naughty or be like a child again and giggle. They have a little moment of happiness and then retreat back into being these serious adults again. But they are all waiting for that child in them to be alive, and they feel guilty about it, or they feel nervous about expressing it, or they feel that it's not their age to be expressing it because they've been taught it's not your age. And it's so much to do with the mind. And through my workshops that I conduct, I aim to open people's minds about things like this, so you can just enjoy the journey. You're born and you die, right? And there's a little journey in between called life. And all you have to do is have fun on this amazing planet. And all you do is become so serious. And log kya kahenge, and ye karna chahiye, wo karna chahiye. Life is not a sequence. Be born, go to school, go to college, get a job, get married, go get promoted, have your children, become a parent, retire, become a grandparent, die. I'm sorry, that's not the journey of life. That's not why we're here.
I know. It's like they don't do it like you. Okay, that's what I want to tell you. I mean,
they should because they can. Everybody can. It's a choice. Happiness is a choice.
Not happiness, Pooja, your giving nature. It's like just embracing people. It's embracing things, being so real.
Listen, they say if your well is full, people can drink from it. So if you're happy, then people can drink from your well of happiness, and you can share happiness, right? It's because people are not happy that they're unable to share. The moment they fill their well with happiness, they will share.
Absolutely. And how did you land up being so much about wellness and well-being and happiness? How did you land up in movies and industry, which is like so much about complexities and judging and always wanting to craft the best selves? Where did you reach then?
Well, I toppled into Bollywood quite by accident. Wasn't by design. I was a class topper in my school again. Do it well, or don't do it at all. So I like topping my class, and also one of those irritating children who was also in the basketball team, and also in the hockey team, and also in the debating team, and also in the theater team, and also in this and all-rounder type thing. And I enjoyed being in boarding school as at the Lawrence School, Sana. It was strict, it was military, it was disciplined. It was phenomenal. It taught me everything I needed to know about discipline, about being the best you can be, about the never given motto that we had, and stuff like that. So, to me, life is this incredible journey, this tapestry, right? And I happened to think I wanted to be on Wall Street because I was so smart. So I wanted to go to Wall Street and be with the movers and shakers of the financial world. And that was my intention. Wow. Cut to, I got really bored in America. I felt studies were too easy. I felt I was going to go brain dead there. I didn't like the crowd and community we were socializing in. I grew up in a very rich and vibrant India, which was my mother and my father and their friends. And largely their generation is who I interacted with. So suddenly I have high school kids only mainly around me. And, they have thoughts of teenagers because they're that age. And, I can only talk about nail polishes and boys and cars for that long, So I kind of was looking for an escape route to come back to India. And it so happened I met Jagmohan. There's a whole series of incidents, and basically I toppled back into Bollywood thinking I was going to do one film. Right? Just one film, and I was going to be over and done with it, and then carry on with maybe academics in India, etc., etc. That too, my mother decides she's going off to Bangalore to start her dream project, Nityagram. And bye-bye. And I'm like, hello. What do you mean bye-bye? How will I run the house? There's like food to be put on the table, a dog, cook, society charges and everything else. And she's like, universe is great. You will survive. I was like, Mom, it's a very expensive survival. She said, I ran away from home when I was 16 or 18 years old with your father. And we lived on 2 slices of toast and 2 eggs. And look how wonderfully we turned out. And you can do it, darling. I believe in you. And so from the age of 18, I started earning my own money and signed up any film that came my way, because now I was in films, so more offers came. So I signed on more films, and, modeling assignments came. So I started with that. And anything to get my bank balances full so I could, keep everything afloat. And you know what? It has been the best decision, the best turn of events, because today, if I have Happy Soul and I get the eyeballs and the collaborations, and it's largely due to the fact that I've established myself as a person and a celebrity, a public figure, known across the country. And because of the nature of who I've been, somebody's been outspoken, somebody stood up for women's rights, somebody's spoken up for men's rights, somebody who's spoken up for equality, somebody who's spoken up against the system, against injustices, somebody who's written a relationship column for 18 years of her life, somebody who's also been in films. I've done movies, I've done so many things. I've been a talk show host. I've written columns. I've been Fear Factor, Khatro Ke Khiladi. I've jumped off helicopters, laid in a pit with snakes.
You're amazing. So, this show is called Second Act, but the kind of acts that you carry.
Yeah. So basically, Archa, what I'm trying to tell you is basically at the end of the day, okay, it's your journey that you take through life, and every single destination you arrive at, right? It could be movies, it could be from school to hopping to America to coming back into movies, to every single thing has empowered me to be who I am today. And I would have probably not been who I am today had it not been for the journey I had. So extreme gratitude for me being Pooja Bedi, who walks in and people look at me and say, "Oh, Pooja Bedi, can I have a photo? Can I have a selfie? How can we collaborate? How can we liaise? How can we do second act of the podcast together?"
Yes.
All of this is happening because of my stint in movies. So thank you to movies. Nothing is a bad experience. Everything is a phenomenal experience, a learning curve. You learn what to do. You learn what not to do. You learn which is equally important.
You are such a bubble of joy. I have to say, such a bubble of joy. So thank you for being on this again. And there's so many questions now that you're speaking so continuously. I want to just tell you that there must be moments in your life where you need to pause and reflect upon this journey. And of course, things don't go right. And how do you handle that phase then?
Okay, so say for example, in my late 20s, I had a period where I lost everybody who was close to me. Okay, from the age of 27 to about 32. That's about about 4 years apart. And within that 4 years, I lost my grandmother. I was close to her. I lost my dog. Every dog lover knows what that's like. I lost my father figure, the man who raised me since I was 6 months old. I lost my brother to suicide. Okay, I lost my mother to a tragic landslide. Okay, and in the middle of this, I've had 2 children, and I'm also getting divorced.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you can imagine every 6 months there was something dramatic happening in my life that was earth shattering, so to speak. And 6 months you lose your brother, you lose your mother, you lose your grandmother, you lose your dog. It's just relentless. I remember looking up at the universe and saying, really? Do you have no one else to pick on?
Yeah.
I all watch this from Mama saying, okay, when is she going to crack? When is she going to crack? When is she going to crack? What is going on? Can you explain to me? Do I really need to go through this? And why must I be put through this? And then you're there at the age of 32 with no alimony also to add to everything, compound all your miseries, so to speak. And then, you just look up and say, what? It's okay. At 18 also, I didn't have any money, and I had a dog and I had a cook to take care of. Well, now I have 2 dogs and 2 children and 2 cooks and 2 drivers. But you know what? I can do it again. I will pick up my pieces and I will do it because you know what? I believe in me and I believe in the universe. And the universe is putting me through this for a reason. And the more I earn, the more I will do for others. And I will give back because I know what it feels to be here. And I just, within a couple of months, I was writing a column for Midday at that point of time. A little 4,000 rupees at the end of 1 month, I could pay my driver's salary with that money. I had little money stored aside. My mother had passed away, so I had a bit of her money left with me. So I was like, okay, I can let that tide over for a period of time. I'll get by. And within a year, I was driving the same Mercedes as my ex-husband. So, I just think life looks up when you have a positive attitude, and you have to look back and say thank you along the way. Thank you to the people who enabled you. Thank you to those who believed in you. Thank you to those who trusted your vision or your passion or your, or gave you all the love and support you needed, because that's so important also. And, and look, I've never looked back ever since. I just bounced, and done different things, and loved the journey, and happy soul has come as a result of that, because I look around me, China, and I see so much of grief. And one more very important thing, it's important to suffer. It's not normal to be happy all the time. Okay, it's not normal to always be in a state of euphoria and happiness and all of that. It's very important to understand what pain and grief is and to experience it. You would not be human if you did not experience grief. So I don't fear grief. I don't fear pain because it's important to go through it. It's human. I wouldn't be human if I wasn't subjected to it. It's part of being human. It's how we respond to the grief that defines us. Do you think your life is over and then, decide your life is over? Or do you say, all right, I need to process this information. I need to feel the pain. It's not easy losing a parent or having a divorce or going through a broken relationship or or dealing with financial crisis for that matter, right? You need to go through it. You need to process that pain. You can't just suppress it and say, oh, everything's okay. That's toxic positivity, and that's not okay. You have to turn around and say, it is important for me to feel this pain. So what I would probably do is go into a room, listen to the saddest songs, watch the saddest movies, and allow myself to cry and weep and cry and even get it out of my system because I need to experience it, and cry and howl and feel bad for myself, feel angry at the universe, and go through the 5 stages of loss that we all have to go through as human beings, being, basically denial, anger, grief, bargaining, acceptance. Go through those 5 phases. Process it out of your system. After 2 weeks, in general, around 2 weeks, I'm just so tired of being sad. So please get on with the business of being happy. I'm done with being sad, because I've really wallowed in it for a period of time. And of course, the hiccups that take place, like even till today, sometimes I'll sit there and I'll smell tea rose, which is my mother's perfume, and I'll suddenly smell tea rose around me and I'll just burst into tears because I miss her. That doesn't mean I'm sad or I'm depressed. It just means I miss her and I experience that emotion. And I love that emotion because it means I'm still connected to her. That means I still care so deeply about her. And I love her so much. And I love the fact I love her so much, and, and then that passes. And then you move on forward and then you have more journeys, so it's very important. And, don't fear pain, don't fear grief, don't fear sadness, don't fear losses. It's okay. It's part of what everybody is going to go through. It's not unique to you. It's not your loss. It's everybody's loss. Everybody will go through it. How do they react to it? That is what defines you.
No, I hear you, but there is a lot of processing that probably you could do being the person who you are. Not many people can do it. So they do need tools and techniques. You've also invested in yourself, I can see, in learning about different things or in being in some well-being programs or in a self-development space. You were doing a session with us at the IIM where you also spoke about NLP and the Reiki methods, and so you really invested in yourself. Was it a part of your healing process as well then?
I think it's more curiosity because, say, for example, my grandfather was a healer and he would heal people through energy. And I'm a really logical bent of mind person who would say, what nonsense? How can that happen? Prove it to me. Right. So that's just me. So, to try and understand that better. So I'm like, okay, the fact is people are being cured. Fact is people are coming with kidney stones and 10 days later they don't have it. Fact is people have come there with cancer in their last stages and 30 years later they're running his institute. So clearly there's something that he's doing that's very powerful. I just don't understand it. So let me try and understand it. So I did a lot of energy work. I've done Reiki 1, 2, and 3. That's Usui. I've done Karuna Reiki 1, 2, and 3. I've done magnified healing. I've done shamanism, soul temple, heal your life programs. I've done clinical hypnosis to understand the way the mind works, the theory of mind, your conscious, your subconscious. Done neuro-linguistic programming to understand that aspect as well. So for me, it's been a great journey. And all kinds of empowerment programs, and the Millionaire Mindset program, do this, do that, do, all sorts of things to try and understand what is it, how does the brain work? How does energy work? How does manifestation work? How does, how is it that why is it two people really want something and one will get it and one won't? What defines that transition and how can you heal and the connection between your thoughts, your emotions and disease? So many different things. So I look around me and I see the world fractured, especially after COVID. I see so much of anxiety, grief, restlessness, digital toxicity, just people in general being not enjoying their lives.
Yeah.
It's become either not plastic. The word is indifferent on a certain level. They're kind of numb to so many things. I don't see them going through those kind of emotions, that deep thing, or those conversations going to explorative levels. It's just swipe. It's just mechanical more than anything else. And that's leading to a lot of other issues. And I look around me and I see a world so filled with anger, negativity, rage. You have shootouts happening somewhere. You have people bombing something somewhere. You have those horrific visuals coming out of Gaza, not even being reported. People don't even care. They go on with their lives. I mean, in my generation, we were growing up, something like that would have across the world, there would be outrage. There would be mass stampedes across the world, saying, how dare you not support a ceasefire? How dare you not go out there and stop it immediately? Like in Manipur, what happened? No one's reporting. No one seems to care anymore. And that comes from, where does that come from? And I want to see the world happy and whole and healed. And you can only do that when you are ready to help others, is when you yourself have been helped. And as I said earlier, it's like a ripple effect, right? So how do I go about helping that to be our reality? Because we can all talk about what's wrong, but what are we doing to set things right?
Yes.
We all know the problems exist. Corruption exists, for example, right? It exists. You can moan about it, groan about it, or you can, like me, stand up and say, I will not bribe, I will not be corrupt. My business may close down as it did in Goa. They can trouble me, you can do this, you can do that. That, no problem. But I will not be corrupt. I will not toe that line. I will not, go into that space I'm supposed to go into to be a successful business person. No, I will not, and I stand for something. And I think these things are very important. Yes, it comes at a cost, it comes at a price, but it always does. But at the end of the day, you're doing something much bigger, in a much bigger picture. And that's the reason we're on this planet, to do things that are beyond us. Not to just fill our cupboards or to fill our stomachs, but to see what it is that we can add value to in the world. How can you make the world a better place? How can you make people happy, a bunch of people? Because then they will go back to their homes and make their bunch of people happier people. Right? So how do we do that? So Happy Soul was born with the intention of being online, offline, holistic wellness, mental, emotional, physical, financial, sexual, environmental, social, all kinds of forms of wellness encompassed across all different verticals, from eating cafes to supermarkets you can shop at, to the online portals, to access to these amazing therapists and healers. And, go out there, find your way, find the way to make yourself happy. Here's a portal that will give you all the tools, all the resources. Just go and do it, log in, just, make the most of your life. It's your life. You live one bloody life. You don't know what's going to happen in your next life. You don't know if you're going to have another next life. So just, I mean, my God, I'm what, 53 years old today, and I look at 53, I'm like, wow, that's more than half my life gone by me, and I have so much to do. And, and at some point, like, I'm starting to wear glasses now. So I'm like, oh, I better get on with it before I'm hobbling on a crutch. I'm very like 85 and 90 years old.
I want to know, what do you eat for this energy, Pooja? Because I just feel you're so vibrant. Anybody who speaks to you would know that my day is made. I don't need any pills. I don't need any vitamins. I don't need any supplements. Just speak to Pooja Bedi. What do you eat?
A healthy dose of positivity, gratitude, and curiosity. More than anything else. I'm curious to know what you're going to ask me next. I'm curious to know that when I share all this information, what will come out of it? How will the world change? Who will be infected by my thoughts and decide that they want their lives to be different? I mean, it's so strange, because I remember when I was married at that time and going through all kinds of crises. And one day I went and I read this book, Who Moved My Cheese, by Dr. Spencer Johnson. And I looked at it and I said, you know what? It's used largely for marketing circles and it's used for business. And I said, there is no cheese in my life. Much as I may say, why is there no cheese? And how dare there be no cheese? And dead on the walls, and why is there no cry and howl and feel hungry and all? Fact is, there is no cheese, So then, and I got divorced. Okay. And they handed the book to my friend. She got divorced. I said, shit, it's not that you're divorced book.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay,
some books have these really powerful thought processes are triggered within you. So I think it's very important for people to start opening their minds to stimulate their personal processes, right? Because to do the same thing and expect different results is stupidity, right? To get different results, you have to learn to do things differently.
Yeah.
And if something isn't broken, don't fix it. So basically, if something is working well, if you don't see, now I'll try to tune this way. If it's working, it's working. If I'm happy I'm not going to fidget with all of this,
Actually.
I thank you. Yeah. In fact, when it's so funny because when people meet me for the first time, my friends told me this. Lots of my friends have told me this, that when they meet me for the first time, think she's doing drugs for sure. Sure, sure. Such high energy, such high energy. I mean, they call me 6 in the morning, and I'm like, hi, good morning. All this something. Oh my God, Pooja, no, it's 6 in the morning. Don't sound like this at 6 in the morning. You know, and they all giggle and laugh, but they all they thought I was probably doing cocaine at that point of time. And then of course, I'm a very huggy, kissy person. I love to hug and kiss my friend and kiss them on their cheeks and all. Ecstasy. She must be doing ecstasy. Okay. And then, of course, now I'm into the alternative sciences. We talk about parallel realities. We talk about multiple universes. We talk about, all kinds of energy and things like some sort of hallucinogenic she's on.
Oh my God. But I have seen you such a studious.
She's like that only. She's and I say, because my parents were the whole sex, drugs, rock and roll generation, right? So I'm like, I think maybe something happened in the womb while I was there, like asterisks, asterisks in that, asterisks and obelix, in the comic book. So Obelix fell in the cauldron as a baby, so he has all the power because he fell in the cauldron. So I said, in Mama's cauldron, and she was brewing me in her stomach, kuch gaya hoga, and I've come out.
कुछ तो गया होगा. That's why I'm asking you, क्या खाया था? खुद क्या खाया था या मम्मा ने क्या खाया था? They normally ask, what did you eat?
कुछ तो है.
कुछ तो है. जो भी है बहुत अच्छा है. So because you're such a vibrant, positive, bubbly person, so do you have millions of friends?
Yes, I have lots of friends. And I know people say, oh, true friends are those you can count on your fingers. You're lucky if you have those many friends. Fact is, I have plenty of friends. They can call me up at 3 in the morning. I will be there for them. And I have been there for them. People call me in the middle of the night in tears about something. I'll get into my car and I'll drive to them. Somebody call me at night and I'll spend 3 hours just talking to them on the phone and making them change them. Some of the people get suicidal sometimes. People get into states of mind that, it's so hard to just need a friend. They need to talk to somebody. You can't just randomly pick up the phone and talk to anybody. I'm glad people see me as that 3 a.m. friend, that they can pick up the phone and call me at any point of time. I will be there. I will listen to them. And I like to be there for them. It's part of who I am. It's not a people pleasing thing. I genuinely care. I genuinely care for people I love. Or even random people for that matter. I've had people walk up to me at airports because I write columns, right, on relationships and say, ma'am, I have an issue. Can I please talk to you about it? Just 2 minutes, ma'am, if you're not getting late to board your flight. And I'll say, tell me, what is your problem? And then they'll discuss the issue, and then there's a way of asking questions that they answer their questions for themselves because I'm not them. I don't live their reality. I cannot make decisions for them, but I can help them see things in a different way by programming their own minds to see things differently, by coming up with their answers themselves. So I'm happy to be that person, and I love people and I have so many friends. And of course, there are degrees of friendships. So, see, for example, really close friends who I can count it way more than 10 on my finger, way more than that. Okay. And I love them all. And I know that I'm there for them and they're there for me. It's an unconditional sort of space. I may not talk to them for a year sometimes, but after a year, if you connect to them, it's identical to how it's ever been. My friend would probably know, say the one who's been with my friend since I was 12 years old, she lives in another city. We talk maybe a couple of times a year, but she knows that if she calls me up in the middle of the night and says, Gui, I need to come to you, I will send her a ticket and I will fly her to me in 1 hour. There's that kind of love and respect and care, and I care for people. I genuinely care. And especially people who won my heart in the tiniest little ways. My God, I'll do anything for them. Just want to see them happy, that's just who I am. And then, of course, you have acquainted, you have then slightly more far removed friends. All of them, they have a wonderful rapport. Then you have acquaintances, again, a wonderful sense of respect and reverence and happiness when you see them, even once or twice a year if you meet them. They're so happy to meet them again. And exchange stories and exchange lives, or, you have a nugget of information coming from somewhere about something new I've learned, something new they want to share. It's all of it is so special, and I love human interactions. I love people. I love learning more. I love to see different types of people and the lives they lead and the thoughts they have. People fascinate me. And I'm not saying judgment of them. Each one has their own life, and I don't want everybody to be like me. I want everyone to be the best versions of themselves, because that's what they need to be. So and I'm happy to empower them to be the best version of themselves. And how can I make it the best you want to be? And I and that's just who I am. And I love people. I love humanity at large. It's just
So tell
like
me,
even my home, the bike comes home, just give her a hug also. Sometimes I just pinch her cheek because she's so sweet and she's so hardworking and she's so well intentioned. And it's just you know it's just so nice to have good people around you. And I think you attract, and people say, oh Pooja, you just attract the right kind of people. I said, no, I attract the good qualities in people around me, and everyone has good qualities. There's no bad person. So say, for example, if you've had a bad relationship with someone, right? You have an ex and you hate your ex, right? Fact is, you loved your ex at one point of time. You thought there was nothing better than that ex. The person was the best thing on the planet, and you committed your life and your love and your soul and your body and your everything to this one human being, right? The relationship changed.
yeah,
The person, the person is still that person. The relationship changed. Somebody else thinks that person is phenomenal even today,
yeah,
right? So it's not that the person is bad. Maybe 100 people that think that he is phenomenal. You don't think so because your equation with him changed, right? So learn to see the equation, not the person. You rectify the reasons things went wrong. I have great friends with all my exes, because I like them as who they are. I'm sorry that our journeys ended and that we couldn't continue it, but why say that we had 5 great years, so let's suffer 50 more years together? Thank you for the 5 years. Thank you for 5 amazing years. Or like my ex-husband, thank you for 12 years. Thank you for the 2 children. Thank you. How special to have had that. And now you move forward and do your thing and find somebody who will match the next chapter of your life, the person you're evolving into becoming. Energetically you're changing. So I wish you well, and you wish me well, and then whenever our paths intersect, we see each other, we get so happy. Like, what's going on in your life and how are things with you? And it's so nice to see that, right? So and then you wish a person well. You should always wish people well, and say thank you for the good times. Why do we forget the good times? We focus on the few months of bad spaces we've been through, the few bad moments. We totally forget the good moments. And we don't give the same level of repetition to the good moments as we give the bad moments. You go on and on and on and on and on and on and on about the one or two things the person didn't do. But you don't go on and on and on and on and on and on about the 100 good things the person did. Our concept of repetition is flawed, so therefore we are sad.
So tell me something. You have great friends. You're hot, you're sexy, you're vibrant, you're positive. You're what every man wants today. You have the money, you have the charm, you don't look 53. I'm just saying, how do you manage men and they're eyeing you all the time? I'm sure there's a big line always, wanting to follow you. How do you handle that?
It's so sweet. Firstly, all forms of attention are a compliment. Okay, firstly. Secondly, men coming up to me, flirting with me, being a certain way with me, it's common. I've had it since I was in my teenage years. I was the sex symbol of the country. I had my home looking like a florist shop with a number of bouquets in my home. I'm used to the love and attention and all of that and being sexy, and I'm used to that. Question is, how does my fiance respond to that? Right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
I asked my fiance this, and I said, sweetheart, I just want to understand, men, I'm attractive, men come up to me, they, some men are flirting with me. Sometimes in his face, they'll come and flirt with me and say things which I feel is very rude, because, somebody standing right next to me who's given that space and role in my life. And, you just think because you're richer or more powerful that you can say certain things a certain way, etc. So I looked at my fiance one day and I said, how do you feel about it? And he looked at me and he smiled and he says, it's such a compliment that people desire you, right? It's such a compliment that so many people love you, either because of your weight or intelligence or looks or this or that or whatever, right? He says it's wonderful. He says, 1,000,000 people can want you. That's not my problem. Who do you want? That is my problem. Who do you want? That is my thing. He says, I know that 1,000,000 people may want you, but you want me. And that's all that matters. And that's the level of trust and respect, that I look for in my relationships.
Wow.
And that's how you're able to be friends, even if you split up, because there's that level of trust and the level of respect. And you never hurt that person. You'll never turn around and be a bad person to that person. Dynamics may change, people may move on, but you can't be a bad person.
So, how's the relationship with your children? Being such a mother who's
Depends what stage of their life they were at. No, everything stage dependent. Any parent will tell you that they're small, they're so cute. They come and they love you and they kiss you and mama this in their world, and you see your face and that's their life and world, and you feel like this most incredible, powerful goddess-like creature because your children actually know you, and then they grow up and start asking for space, and you're like, what do you mean space? It's like I'm kissing. Why the hell would I want to give you space? Come here and cuddle me just now. And they're like, Mama, you're so weird. And you got to learn to chill. And I'm like, oh God, those words are coming at me. And I'm in their room talking to them. And they're like, Mama, bounce. So I'm like bouncing. And they're like, what are you doing? I said, you said bounce, I'm bouncing. Mama, bounce means leave the room. I said, oh, we've come to that level where bounce means leave. How you tell your mother to leave? It's like, and then they go through their phases, their hormones, their anxieties, and you've got to be a parent to them. I mean, a lot of parents say, oh, I'm the best friend to my children. I don't want to be their friend, I want to be their parent. I can be a friendly parent, but I'm their parent. They can have a million friends out there, but they will only have two parents, and I intend to be the best parent to them. And that involves a lot of hard decisions sometimes, and that involves being a terrible person in their eyes at a certain phase in their life. But that's okay, because eventually they will see why I did what I did, or the wisdom of where I come from and the experience that I've had to have guided them or helped them understand life a different way. And that's my journey as a parent. And I may be hated for it at a certain point of time. I may hate being hated, but that's okay. Then they'll grow up, and when they reach their 20s, they'll love me again. And now they do, because they're in their 20s. So
Yeah. So, with Alaya has just come to the movies and you've had experiences. So, what do you have to tell her about being in this Bollywood space?
Well, again, like I grew up with my parents who were very famous, and very well known and respected and loved, and also, they were rebels in so many ways. So there was a lot of media and unwanted media, and back then you grew up with this, sense of, your mother is so shocking, and we grew up with all of that. But today's day and age, fortunately, because of social media, there's so much exposure to the world at large. Nothing is really an issue, so to speak. They form their own identities, they form their own lives. They know that they have a famous mother, they have a famous grandfather. They It comes with the turf. She's handled herself beautifully in the media. She's a very strong and sensible girl. She's a very very caring, very loving, very decent, a very good human being, a superb human being. And the way you can see it in her interviews, you can see it in the way she talks, you can see the kind of respect she gives her elders, the kind of tonality that she has, with friends, with family, body language. All these things are very important. It's very telling, as to how you feel about yourself in your space with other people. And she's super hardworking. Again, 100% focused, or not at all. She is 100% committed. She'll come back with bruises from fight class and dance class and this class and that class, but she will go for it till she gets it right. So she's got a great work ethic. She has a great personal ethic. She's handled the media beautifully. It's not easy being a star child, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of media speculation and spotlight that comes on you. That's very wanting to tear you down, because you're a star child. Also, oh, you're privileged and nepotism, and they try to throw all those words in it. It's very unnecessary to do that to children, because they're just children and they're looking to form their own identity and space in the world. So, but she's handled herself beautifully, and I'm extraordinarily proud of her. And I'm sure once my son also does his journey through life, and I'm sure that, he will also go from strength to strength. And I really wish that for him as well.
So amazing. So, thank you for sharing that. See, it's already more than an hour and more that we've been chatting. And believe you me, this seems just the beginning of something about you. I really spent so much time with you, but didn't know anything about you. So maybe we will do another episode, but I want to ask you before you go, what is something that you want to tell women of today from your own life? What should they learn from it? Yeah.
Well, two very important things. One is to be kind to other women. we are so mean to other women. We're jealous. We're competitive. We're jealous. As either as friends or as colleagues, or even within the family, the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law equations, or where they're looking at sometimes even mother and daughter for that matter. Or siblings and or friends. It's just I don't know what it is with many women that I come across that are just so cutting about others. And I really wish that they could see that if they empowered somebody, somebody will in turn empower them. And we all need a helping hand. We all need a hug. We all need someone who's going to be our buddy, because when you grow older and you realize that your children will fly the coop, at the end of the day, look at you. You left your parents. You've formed your own life. You have your own husband. Now you have your own children, and you have very little time for your parent. So your children are going to do the same to you. So who's going to be around you? Who's going to be around you are going to be your friends. And largely they'll be women friends. So learn to cultivate that beautiful set of women around you, empower each other, grow together, learn together, share together. It's a beautiful space and connected space to be in. And second is the self belief. I mean, there's so many beliefs as Indian women that have been programmed into us, right? To दूसरों का सोचो, खुद का मत सोचो.
Right.
It's just think of others, don't think of yourself. You're selfish if you do things for yourself and don't do things for others. I don't ascribe to that. It is extraordinarily important to input into yourself first. Self-love, self-care, self-respect, self-worth. Extremely important qualities, and it's not selfish to do so.
So true.
And it's the most important thing that and we're taught to do just the opposite from the time we're born. We're taught what our place is, what our role is, what our duties are, how giving service to society is the most important thing. No, when your well is full, others can drink from it, but make sure your well is full first. Your first and foremost responsibility is to yourself, not to your mothers, not to your fathers, not to your friends, not to your children, to you. Make yourself strong. Tomorrow, if you're, lying there in a horrible physical diseased condition because you didn't pay enough attention to your body, everyone else will have to leave their lives and come and look after you. You don't want that to happen. Put into yourself physically, put into yourself mentally, put into yourself emotionally, put into yourself all the love and care you could possibly put so you can share that with others. You don't want to be a wreck because you've done things for others and then feel bad no one was there for you. Then you go to that self-pity and that it's okay, I'm a martyr, I've done it for the world, and dunya ke liye. You don't need to go down that road. You can be fulfilled and fulfill the lives of others. And it's very, very important. And as women, we must focus on that.
Yeah, so I've started to
women, even men should focus on that. For that matter, men. Look at that. Men around the world, in India especially, be the workhorse, go out there, deal with the bad boss, deal with this, deal with that, deal with pollution, deal with traffic, come home, your wife is home, you meet into a workhorse. Respect him for that as well. Respect him for all that he goes to earn the money that affords the life, that affords the education, that affords the medical care, that affords your, your holidays. Where's the gratitude? There's just expectation. Where is the gratitude? So important.
Yeah, so I was just going to tell you that I do these midlife liberation retreats now, and the very focal point of changing the mindset from midlife crisis to midlife liberation is very liberating itself. And so many women
I like it.
Because now they feel the power of deciding life for themselves, designing life for themselves. Because the first part of their life, as I call it, the first act to the second act, is literally when you transition to know who you are, what you want, how do you look after your own emotions and feelings. So thank you for bringing that up, actually, because that's such an important thing, right? But before you go, 2024 is here. So what's your one wish for yourself?
Oh my God, I've invested 5 years more from 2016 I started Happy Soul. So technically, it's going to be 8 years of starting Happy Soul as workshops and 4 years of it being an official company. Right? I want to see my Happy Soul project go from strength to strength. I want to see all my verticals up. I want to see the world changing as a result of it. I want to see the fruits of my labor coming to life. I want to see not just little saplings coming up. I want to see fruits. I wish myself.
You're so amazing. You're so amazing. I wish you all that you wish for yourself, and it will be done. Amen. Because you have it in you. And I'm so happy that we met. There has to be a reason for things to happen. And I'm sure that, this will really turn into something fantastic. So thank you, Pooja.
Thank you. And all the best to you and your vision and your dreams. And may everybody who's watching this show go from strength to strength. Be the best that you can be.
Absolutely. Happy 23 to transitioning to happy 24 and many more dreams to come true. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
So this is yet another incredible episode of Discover Your Second Act. I'm hoping that as me, you are feeling very, very excited, enthusiastic, and learned about all the nuggets that came out. So follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and of course, until next time, keep discovering your second act.